So the watch brand that's most like status quo?
Oh, gosh.
Some would argue that status quo only know 3 chords. So it's the watch brand. Again, it's Panerai. Turns out all music relates to Panerai.
But they weren't successful like Panerai. Like, who hasn't even got that big? Okay, well, welcome to aBlogtoWatch Weekly. Our host may join us. He's here, at least in half audio. And he said, in the interest of getting started, we might as well. So we've done this a few times by ourselves. I think we can manage at least until Rick arrives. So I guess we'll just begin by talking about watches, which is all my podcasts complain that I don't do. They're like, Ariel, you don't talk enough about specific watches. Ripley, the actually affordable article from just looks like today or yesterday, Citizen Promaster Dive 41 millimeter. I think this is the Quartz Eco Drive.
Yes.
First of all, did you like it?
I do. I'm wearing it right now. It's honestly so unobjectionable. It's totally fine, but it's really good. It's a really good job at being completely unremarkable.
What's the street price of this thing? Because with Citizen and the Japanese brands, we do have a street price.
$450 is the full retail. But I saw some people in the comments say it's like found a deal from a place that's having a sale for like $250. So if you think about this and clock it at like $300, that's a really compelling deal. That's just a hair over a moon swatch. But this is a really, if I didn't already own 2 other Citizen divers, I would very, very much want to buy this one because it's such an easy to wear watch. And the bracelet on it is really nice compared to what we're used to from Citizen. It's solid links, multi-component links. And then look at this extension system. Oh, yes. It's like what they have on the Challenge Diver reissue Fujitsubo thing.
So what does this not have that you get in a fancier, more high-end Citizen diver?
Typically, it really just depends on what the model is. If you were talking about one of the more feature-packed ones, like the Aqualand, where you get a depth gauge and all that, or maybe 100 meters of water resistance over some of the more burly divers that come in at 300 or up to 1,000 Citizen offers. Some of the more premium ones have like the Eco Drive 365 movement. This is the standard one that we know from like the base level divers that have been around for years, which is good. That's a good thing. 6 months power reserve, quartz, really, really easy to live with movement, but not unremarkable. There's nothing special about this movement versus what you'll find in the more upmarket models. There's no super titanium. It's stainless steel, but you do get a sapphire crystal. You do get really nice proportions. This is the smallest Citizen diver I've worn that isn't like a quote unquote mid-sized model like that 36 or 37 millimeter one. And for someone who kind of wants a Submariner blueprint, like 5-digit sub, not 6-digit sub, this is a really solid contender that doesn't feel like a sub homage.
Now, Citizen has been making quality watches like this for a long time. And one thing I see is them potentially falling in the same trap that Seiko fell into, which was having a broad spectrum of dive watches at different price points, but not adequately explaining to the consumer how to stratify them, how to understand $1,000 one versus a several $100 one versus a $5,000 one. You seem to have to do some type of weird math formula to figure out what the differences were. And now Citizen has this whole spectrum of divers over, close to $2,000, I think more for some of them. Those have mechanical movements. Do you think that they should take a pause right now and maybe create model families or some stratification? Because don't you agree they sort of run that same danger?
A little bit. I think they do have certain things that it's easier to sort of say one movement's better than the other. If it comes with additional features or a multi-year power reserve, that feels like a tangibly more elevated offering than 6 months versus some of the Seiko movements where you're looking at one going, well, the accuracy specs, at least on paper, are both abysmal. So I don't know if the extra, 28.8 versus 21.6 hertz even really matters in this instance. And, you don't even get the longer power reserve when you bump up to a more higher frequency Seiko movement. So, I think with a Citizen, it's a little bit easier to tell them apart, but I do think that they should be careful when rolling out the high end divers or ProMaster models, that they do kind of carve out a space that make and explain why they are X amount more expensive than something like this that's a few $100.
David, do you think that this is a good entry-level watch, or is it for someone who just needs a watch but is, not really a watch lover?
Wow, it's right on that edge, if I'm honest. I quite like the way that it's. I don't think it's bad. It's a good watch. I mean, why wouldn't you want to have? This is ideal for daily wear. It's reasonably creatively designed, as Ripley just said. It is. It does have the Submariner vibes without trying to mimic it too hard. So that's pretty good. I think it works both ways. But if you are a diehard watch enthusiast, I think you will grow tired of it real soon, even if it ticks all the right boxes.
I hope someone's screen sharing this. No, Rick is usually the one doing that. I guess people have to go to the website to see what we're talking about if there isn't a video here of this watch. I think that it's just hard as an enthusiast not to want, like, as you said, super titanium, right? Or something like that. I mean, I remember I was looking a little while ago at Citizen's website, and they had other EcoDrive quartz divers, like I think part of the EcoZilla collection. It was like over $3,000. And I was like, the product page does a very poor job of explaining why this. And there's other similar models with, that EcoZilla case is kind of like that lugless thing that are like far less. And I recognize Citizen is falling into that issue. So they have this wonderful assortment, which I think is great, but they're falling into that. So why should I spend that amount on this one versus this one? Or maybe there's a danger on spending the lower one because it might not, it might be too cheap. So I think that it's difficult for them to explain what that sweet spot is. But I think for me, the thing that I want is the super titanium. I'm so sold on that this exact thing with super titanium, I think would be much more of an enthusiast grade thing. Whereas this, it's like, the perfect gift watch or recommended watch. It's like, yeah, if you just want to spend a few $100s, like no one's going to be like, what the hell? Why'd you get this?
Yeah, I think super titanium for enthusiasts is definitely, at least on the affordable side of Citizen's catalog, the key feature that a lot of people are going to look for. And the bump up to it in a diver format isn't all that expensive whatsoever. The automatic even Fujisubo models aren't really that much more expensive than these. They're still under $1,000. And that is a tangibly more elevated offering. Now, when you get to this, I think where it succeeds is it is the watch where if someone just walked into like a mall and bought one and they weren't an enthusiast, they'd be totally happy. But it might give them the enthusiast bug because it does deliver on some enthusiast features. So they're not going to immediately feel like they've just bought a total piece of junk. If they do start to go down that enthusiast hole, they're still going to really appreciate this. And they might end up with a ton of different watches in their collections, but will ultimately still appreciate this, not just because it was their first watch or whatever, but because it is a really just solid, versatile, easy to live with watch. Again, not an exciting timepiece, actually remarkably unremarkable in terms of it. It's a 41 millimeter stainless steel diver, black dial, black bezel, light powered quartz movement, but still a quartz movement nonetheless. But it does deliver a lot of different features that are going to make someone happy. So I think it excels in being a first watch for someone that can either be the only watch that because they just needed a watch and it'll make them completely happy, or it might be able to give them the enthusiast bug and then not totally feel outgunned once they start to buy other more expensive stuff.
So give some people a few reasons why to spend more. What is it that is, I said super titanium, obviously this is not bare bones, but a simple product meant to be classic. Citizen's been making something like similar to this for like 30 years, maybe more. If you're going to spend more, what should you look to get, again, other than super titanium?
If you wanted to stay within the Citizen lineup, if you wanted to spend more and outside of super titanium or a more exotic material, it would really be the bump up to a self-winding movement, unless you really, really just wanted one of Citizen's high-end EcoDrive calibers like the 365 or some of the even more premium stuff where you're getting much longer durations of autonomy and something that you're not going to find in a less expensive model. But for the average person, assuming you don't really want super titanium, who wants a versatile, easy-to-wear diver, this kind of delivers everything that you're going to look for. And some of the more expensive models aren't really going to provide that much more unless you specifically want an automatic movement or one of these other Citizen specific features.
Let's talk about something completely different on another end of the spectrum, which, again, it's just, for me, amusing because of the contrast. And that is the watch that Mike had reviewed, the Edox Grand Ocean chronograph. I talked about the Grand Ocean Power Reserve, which is a similar model, but in a smaller case that is 40 millimeters wide. The chronograph is larger, 43 millimeters wide. And I think that he and I both had a similar outcome of our review, which is, at first we were like, I'm not sure about this. And then we recognize that some quirks, but at the end, we kind of appreciate the personality and we kind of miss it because there's elements about it that we like. I've always rooted for this. I'm reviewing a different Edox right now, which is the Hydra Sub, which is just like a total standard classic diver. Doesn't look anything like this, is much more conservative and straightforward. This thing, I root for these. And I just get curious now that you guys see a different version of it. You know, what does this have going for it? And what do you think Edox needs to do to reduce some of the maybe rebuttals or barriers to people taking a watch like this more seriously?
I also root for this. And on one hand, it kind of looks like, you know, the poor man's Roger Dubuis with those lugs and, you know, the very intricate rim on the bezel. But it also, yet at the same time, almost looks a little generic, like what you'd get from a much less expensive, more fashion-oriented watch. So I think, but again, this is Edox, which is going to be a much higher quality product than something that looks like this at a much lesser price point. So I think it really is more showcasing the details and the finer elements that make this a more elevated offering. The case back's quite cool, but personally, it looks like it wears quite large. I'm not really sure. Have you tried this one on?
I have a while ago. It's bigger. I wouldn't call it crazy big. There's a picture where the case back kind of digs into Mike's wrist. I wore, again, the smaller one that had the same case back. I didn't have that issue. I don't know quite how tight he was wearing it. But if you look at it on his wrist, I mean, he doesn't have small wrists, but they don't look crazy big or anything. It's a thick watch, but it doesn't look proportionally too big.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. This is much more exciting. So this is what I'm talking about when I said, you know, you would get bored with that Citizen sooner or later if you're into watches, because you're bombarded with stuff like this. This is so much more exciting. And I understand it's more expensive and it's easy to, you know, cram more details into a watch that is made more expensively. But still, I think it's just so good, so refreshing to see something that is dripping with novel and unique details. That's just so great. Yeah, this is funny. You know, that's not cool. The case back. Oh, gosh. Yeah.
I will say that seeing live photos of it, presumably Mike's here, it makes the watch look a lot better than the press photos of this watch when you first see it. You know, certain things aren't really going to come across in a render or just a over stylized, you know, marketing driven image. But I think when you get to look at these photos here, it's clear that this is a much higher level piece. And again, like David said, the design isn't boring. So while it might take a little while to warm up to or kind of wrap your head around and acclimate with, it is going to have a bit more sticking power as far as, you know, how it makes you feel or how interesting it is in the long run.
I think this is a great watch for font lovers because there's got to be 4, maybe 5 different fonts on the dial.
It's the 2000s all over again.
I mean, how do they get so many on here? And the text, there's really not really much rhyme or reason behind where it's placed or why. The Power Reserve had that same issue. I just kept saying, who needs to be reminded that that's a Power Reserve? Who's going to confuse what that does, right? And on the chronograph, it says chronograph automatic on the dial there. So that's the smaller version. And, you know, same kind of case style there.
I think it's a very pretty looking watch. I quite like this exciting 2000s design. I miss it greatly. I think it's over the top, but it's over the top in a way where you can see that, you know, people have given it at least some thought, right? Yeah, the 41, the 40 millimeters are versions are much nicer looking, I think. Better dial layout, better proportions, all the rest of it.
I just, I think Edox, again, these are not new, but they've always been kind of cool. But if you never wear them, you can't tell, because just in their pictures, it just doesn't look exciting enough. Maybe it's kind of the muted lighting and you can't really tell how it looks against the skin. But like all that little extra shiny stuff and little crenellation kind of around the bezel and that vestigial third lug.
In the metal, it looks much more expensive in the metal than it does on these pictures. It's true. Much more expensive. It's an expensive looking watch. I've seen a few of these, especially the 40s, and wow, I'm quite fond of these. For $2,500 with the power reserve and this sort of case and dial, it's an elaborate watch. I'm a fan.
Yeah, so it's again, I'm not necessarily sure where Edox takes this, but I think that more people should look, especially because brands like Edox, they're not new. They've been doing this for a while. They got things like quality control, pretty much down, and they're not $7,000 for a watch that doesn't feel like it's $7,000, which is, what you're seeing a lot now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. For some other brands, this would be $7,250 and they would be like, what? You don't think it's affordable? No.
Now speaking of unaffordable, let's move on to a watch that I think we all kind of like. We're not sure why, even though it has downsides. It's the Piaget with, I guess they're calling it the Andy Warhol now. I don't know. I mean, I know that he had one of them, but I remember, what did they call, when they first came out with this watch? It had some horribly boring name. Remember, what was it?
It was
black
a Cousin,
tie.
wasn't it?
That's right, the
wasn't
black tie. No, just the black tie. So bad.
Right.
But this is micro brand. If you want a nice case shape to copy, I vote for this, huh?
Oh, 100%. Because you can also start doing a few things with that extra wide sloped bezel to sort of make it your own as well. But this isn't especially intricate or elaborate, just the profile itself. But it is going to be something definitively different. Now, if you want to start making it like this, that's where you get into a more elevated and expensive product.
I don't think it needs to cost, what, $70,000?
Oh, God, no, it doesn't.
$61,000.
61.
It's insane. All I can see is a CNC machine producing this case in about 2 minutes flat.
I would take a steel version of this. Leave the white gold. We get dials like that from D1 Milano, so it can't be that difficult.
Or Denison, if you want kind of a square little cushion case with a stone dial, Denison will give you something like that for under $1,000.
I think we can get this look for maybe. I don't think it maybe $1,500, $2,000. I know the case is going to be difficult.
This is ridiculous. Why?
Thank you, Piaget. What? Inspiration.
Yeah.
Any chance you guys can hear me?
Yeah,
of course, Lord and Savior.
Can you hear us?
I can.
Oh, our Lord and Savior is back finally.
Ready to talk about your favorite guy, Andy Warhol.
Yeah, I'm a bit flummoxed as to what's been going on, so apologies for missing the.
Hey, Warhol had good taste, and if he liked this Piaget black tie, God, why do they call it that? I like how they went for black tie, just calling it Andy Warhol. Do they have to get permission from his estate?
Or is it named after another Andy Warhol? They just message somebody on Facebook like, "Hey Andy, would you allow us to call this watch?" They were sure. Maybe there's an Andy Warhol out there who makes a decently, he put his kids through college just because he's also called Andy Warhol and just licensing his name.
I mean, it doesn't say, you'd think to have I don't know, some pop art on the back of this watch. If this was an official Andy Warhol, I don't know, foundation, I have no idea who owns his name, collaboration, that would be cool. Have some artwork go with it. Maybe put some Campbell soup on the dial. Something.
Yes.
There's so much they could do with this. Use the case like a frame for art. Do some neat stuff, Piaget, because this is so half Andy. There's no Warhol here.
Maybe the box is a giant soup can.
Maybe we can hope so. Green pea soup.
It's just a squashed tin of soup, basically. A hydraulic press. I think somebody handy with a hydraulic press can do this from a can of soup.
So I have to say the interesting detail that when this first came out, it had one of those Beta 21 watches, back in the 70s. It was that early quartz. So I actually think this watch would be really cool with like one of those high accuracy quartz movements in there.
I may have missed this, but was the whole point of Andy Warhol's watches not that they didn't work?
What?
He never wound his Cartier or something like that?
He, the watches he wore never told the right time.
We don't know that.
Is that really someone you want to associate your watch with? Is that
Piaget
is
does.
famous for wearing his watch not actually running or even working, I think.
I think he's more famous. See, for them, they get excited. Like, people pay a lot of money for that name or stuff that name did. That's as far as they're taking it.
Apparently, it's true. From a quick Google search, it's true. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
He had a collection. What?
Well, we know that perception and image was really his primary thing.
Yes.
So it totally makes sense that he was too much in a rush to set the time.
Yeah. He didn't need the time. All right.
Cool. So, David, we don't have you on camera. I'm guessing this has already been a topic of conversation.
Not yet. I'm yet to apologize to the audience that I have. I have the Nilean plague or something like that.
It's the
allergy of the Nile.
Someone needs to be screen sharing.
Yeah,
I'm handing the baton over to Rick.
No, I'm going to be struggling because I'm not on my normal computer here. So I can chip in. I'm gonna channel my inner you, and somebody else is going to screen share. I have no idea. I've had to actually install the software onto an Apple Mac or whatever this is.
What? I'm on Chrome, and it's just you just click on share and it does it.
Yeah, but from my audio.
Welcome everybody
desk.
to Rick's first podcast.
Yes, exactly. Woo! This is what it feels like.
181st.
This is me learning. Is my volume quite low?
It sure is, pal.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Okay. I'll try and sort that
Just
out.
a little bit.
If Ariel, if you want to talk about something else, I'll try and sort this out and balance it. 2 seconds.
All right, Admiral Screen Share. Get back to duty. I know we talked about it a little bit, Ripley. I didn't want to spend too much time on it, but you wrote about the Tracer with the Iris dial, and you showed it open and closed. What were the comments like when they realized that, yes, when you close it, you can't see the time, and this is kind of dumb?
Well, look at the reverso. When you flipped it over, you couldn't see the time either.
Also dumb.
So this is like the tactical equivalent of the reverso. You can turn the time off when it doesn't matter, and I think this is such kind of a gimmick, but like a fun one. Tracer, like many brands who built their reputation producing.
I love Tracer too.
Yeah, producing like actual timekeeping tools now find themselves in a position where they have to cater to enthusiasts too. And, at the end of the day, what do enthusiasts want? Well, once they already have some tritium tube tactical watch thing from you, then because that's what you're known for, you have to give them something a bit more entertaining. It's fun. It's honestly just fun. I'm not a tactical enough dude, just look at me, to know when you might actually need this on some mission of sorts, or why a digital watch where you could press the backlight and have it illuminate on demand might not be more practical. But it's a fun feature.
Night vision.
It's an interesting watch. And this is sort of like the analog equivalent of what back when digital backlight or electronic backlights were new, and you could say, hey, look at this. You can be like, hey, look at this, and turn the time off. So it's a fun thing.
Years ago, I had some discussions with designers who made much more expensive watches where you could hide the time. There was a few of them. I remember one of them was the Hermès Le Temps Suspendu, and I think Hublot had one out there. And there's just some exotic watches. Frank Muller had one too. No, Revelation, you can still see the time. It just changed the dial.
True.
But the idea was that these were watches that could make it so you could hiding the time on demand. And like the only way that they could explain it was like first they'd be like, in the French poetic sense. I'm like, okay, here we go. It's so romantic to be able to turn off from the world, to, you know, be able to shut the time away, to be able to ignore it. It was a bunch of, I don't know. I could kind of see the romance in it. Not really that practical. My question is that all this is? Is this sort of like a weird gimmick trying to like romance someone, be like, oh, I can turn off the time so I don't have to think about this moment, you know, having to end, or some nonsense like that? Is that really what this is about?
Maybe,
it's
but
French
I think it's
cigarette smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
but for like a tactical minded dude, I think of what you're talking about, the romance of it. They're going to buy a reverso or some other thing that you can switch off. This is.
It's just for another man to see this at an event and be like, what's going on? Is it a camera? Are you taking pictures of me?
That's just the worst.
Yeah, it's definitely something that you can show to someone at the bar, turn the bezel when you're talking about watches, and they can totally understand it without any type of additional explanation.
Can they understand it?
Well, they can't understand the purpose of it, but they can understand the mechanism.
That they can understand, but then it leads to a lot of, and now what happens? Oh, wait, nothing?
And what are you wearing? You know,
okay, that's $1,000, and you too can have a party trick on your wrist, you know, the ultimate cocktail watch, if you will. We should talk about something slightly more serious. I don't know what else to say about the new all black Bell & Ross because, well,
it's just like the old all black Bell & Ross. So we see a lot of watches that look like other watches that probably we thought already existed, but this is nuts. I had to do a double take and then again do the same double take with my brightness up to actually figure out what was different. We saw this watch a couple years ago, but the one difference was that the finishing on its hands and markers was polished, and now it is a black color.
Ooh. So is it more or less legible?
It is probably less legible because the loom is also tinted. So you get the stealth colorway. It's a Bell & Ross thing. They've been doing it for quite a while.
Since 2004, I think, or 2005.
7, something like that. Quite a while. It's one of their popular ones. Now we get it in the skeleton, but we also just got this watch a couple years ago with a solid dial as well as one of the other options. But the skeleton version, we're just talking about the color of the surrounds and the color of the loom, and that's it. The other one was available with a bracelet. They both have black smoke sapphire dials, same movement. It's kind of astounding that this is a distinct model and it just wasn't rolled out among the other trio.
Now, I've liked the BR5 since they came out with it, but I've always said that it's the one Bell & Ross which has a different theme than the others, and the theme is Bell & Ross is the theme. The other ones are like, you know, flight or racing or something. The BR5 is themed on Bell & Ross. Shouldn't the company put some emphasis in the other stuff a little bit more? Like,
so hold on a second. So this Bell & Ross theme is Bell & Ross. This is like...
It's an amalgamation of other Bell & Ross watches.
A watch
That's all
company,
it is.
Navel-gazing watch. We're creating a watch to celebrate us. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
That's exactly right. Okay. So it's the essential watered-down Bell & Ross, or concentrated Bell & Ross.
Not watered down.
Essence
kind
of Ross.
Distilled and then separated far from anything purposeful. They took elements, as Ariel mentioned, from others. It's the same case, but it's the integrated bracelet model. So it's definitively going to be confined to this more sort of elevated jewelry style role, but it's meant to just be recognizable as a Bell & Ross rather than a tribute to cockpit instruments or a dive watch or something like that.
I just think Bell & Ross actually did a little bit better emphasizing the other stuff. Like the BR5 should be like if you've had a few of the others and you're a fan of the brand, get one of these, just sort of like, if you know, you know. But why they've stopped pushing the pilot stuff, the driver stuff, when other brands have just gone full throttle, no pun intended, into that stuff, why have they backed off and tried to be more artsy?
Why Bell & Ross? Just why?
Maybe they've sold all the watches they could.
I think Bell & Ross needs to start designing Bremont, okay? Bremont by Bell & Ross, or would it be Bell & Ross by Bremont? One of the two. That's a good collab.
Brand Ross. Available near you at 90% off. I don't know.
Bremos.
It's not an investment piece.
Which other watch brands would you combine together to form? Would the sum of the parts, would the whole be greater than the sum of the parts if you combined Bell and Ross and Bremen?
It's more. It's less about more
worse?
and them like fixing each other's weaknesses.
Mm-hmm. Sales, you mean?
Like if only Bell and Ross had Bremont style salespeople. If only Bremont had Bell and Ross style designers.
You know that Jaguar announced, I think it was it the Wall Street Journal? There was an announcement in the past couple of weeks that Jaguar had sold in the last quarter something like 69 cars or 73 cars, whereas this time last year they sold 1,400. Do you think they sold more or less cars than Bremen sold watches in the last quarter?
Ooh, I think Bremont probably sold a few more watches.
Actually to the public as opposed to the wholesalers.
That's a different story.
How many actually walked out the door with genuine customers?
What would be the discount? What's going on there.
What kind of discount did the buyers of the Jags get versus the buyers of the Bremonts? Because that's also an important figure in this.
It's true. Yeah. It's true. I mean, that is the story that's been circulating this week. Well, I know Watch Pro's been talking about it. The number of watches that are now reselling for less than the retail price.
You mean the way it's always supposed to be?
Exactly, the way it's supposed to be.
So the used things are selling for less than the new things.
What a crazy concept.
This is new, huh? What foreign place is this?
What foreign world is this? What hell?
Why do we need
have we landed on?
a media alert when it's like the feeding frenzy is coming to an end? Like, is that necessary to say?
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming you didn't do my media alert this week for the clapping because I wasn't here. I think we'll maybe save it for next week. But it was we've had some great media alerts this week of absolute nonsense. I can't take
that segment away from you, Eric. You know that.
You can, that's fine. So we'll save the nonsense clapping media alert for next week. But there just seems to be more and more media alerts celebrating things that are nothing to do with the core competencies.
Nothing to be alerted about.
Well, the word on the street is that brands are desperate for attention. And they all thought they could do it themselves.
Yes, that seems Who to think it? So if the portmanteau of Bremen and Bell and Ross was Bross, famous 90s twin band. Did you have Bross? Did you do your research last week? Bell and on the
I
music,
listened to the
Ariel.
music.
Did you listen to the music?
Oh yeah.
So what was your favourite Status Quo Live Aid gig?
Are we getting into this right now?
Why not? Or bagpipe pop.
I mean, you had me listen to three things. There was Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yep.
I can start with that. There was Status Quo, and then there was the Smiths, which is obviously the one that I'm most familiar with because it kind of made it over here.
I'm not familiar with the Pipers.
Red Hot Chili Peppers. I think the problem was that they couldn't go beyond just being a cover band, and rather than truly celebrate the bagpipe, he just wanted the bagpipe to sound like other things. Yeah, he's like, look how versatile the bagpipe is. And I'm like, no, I want more bagpipe and I want more originality. I get you can do covers. So good talent and energy.
For musical instruments, the bagpipe.
Missed opportunity, baby.
The best thing is that it doesn't sound like itself.
Yeah.
That's like when I asked somebody, a journalist, on one of these trips, and, I asked, well, what is it? So why do you live in Geneva? And she gave it a good thought. Genuinely looked out the window and thought about it. And she was like, well, it's so easy to leave. I mean, there's so many flights. And I was like, well, that's not what I would say about a place where I like to live. I mean, are you kidding me? And no, that was legitimately her answer.
Are you missing going back to Geneva? Is that why you're bringing that up?
No, definitely not.
Flat share.
Okay, so status quo.
So relate the Red Hot Chili to try and keep this slightly relevant. So Red Hot Chili Peppers is what watch brand?
Someone that who just does a lot of copying. I don't know. I didn't.
A lot of covers.
Who does a lot of covers?
Who does do a lot of covers? Is it? I mean, are we talking like?
Omega keeps trying to ape Rolex's designs and colorways, but like they have their own distinct language. They should just not make the same colorways as Rolex and just do their own colorways because they have, God knows they have enough watches, but like don't make a turquoise dial. Rolex just had that. Don't make a gold chronograph with a green dial. Rolex had one of those. Do a red chronograph. Omega's all about red. They love red. You know what? You know, why?
Yeah, but Red Hot Chili Peppers is just about the bagpipes and covers. They're not even that dynamic as Omega. More of a one trick. Like if there was a company and all they did was copy Panerai, you know, maybe that's who it would be.
Oh, what's that one brand that they kind of all that is what they do?
What's the guys that broke off from Panerai? What was they called? Anonymous.
Well,
Anonymous.
They won. Anyways, I thought we were doing serious music critique.
Serious music critique. So that's Red Hot Chili Peppers. So what's next?
Status quo.
Yeah.
I guess on the upside, decent technique. Definitely trying to sound like an American band, but they're not American and sounding hokey in the process. Mm-hmm. So I think that was really where they screwed up, is that their whole plan of what their sound was going to be just made no sense. And they lacked a degree of authenticity. It was like all these British bands and like British bands kind of trying to sound like an American band, but failing in the process. Not as good as the Japanese would copy something and be like, wow, that really sounds like the thing.
Status Quo is a band are older than the United States of America itself. I don't think you can say it copied an American band.
What? Status Quo?
Yeah, they formed in like 63 or something, I think. They formed at roughly the same time as the Beatles.
I know, and they tried to sound like the Beach Boys, but they're not American.
Hey, they did tour with the Beach Boys once, but there we go.
I'm just saying they were confused.
Yeah, okay.
What are we talking about?
Status Quo, Live Aid. It's the 40th anniversary of Live Aid. I didn't realise that.
I don't know how people in the UK perceive the Smiths. Maybe it was seen as too mainstream. I think it's beautiful stuff. Not highly intellectual, but very good sound, very good at layering songs together, making them very catchy. It's sophisticated stuff, and I think it's some of the best of that era. But a lot of good stuff came from that era. I mean, it's quality stuff. I mean, it's not for everyone, I'm sure, but it's the best of the three things.
So the watch brand that's most like Status Quo?
Oh, gosh.
Some would argue that Status Quo only know 3 chords, so it's the watch brand. Again, it's Panerai. Turns out all music relates to Panerai.
But they weren't successful like Panerai. Like, who hasn't even got that big?
Pretty successful.
I'm sorry, it pissed people off, but maybe, well, no. I was going to say Studio Underdog, but I don't understand enough about why people like Studio Underdog.
Studio Underdog and Status Quo. That's good.
Kind of like a one-trick pony, you know? I
could see Richard Beck doing a Status Quo tribute watch. And the Smiths, who the Smiths most like? Again,
something more... No, something much more deep and emotional.
Oh, deep and emotional, breggy.
I mean, I don't know enough about the band to really say, but I think, you have like brands like McGonagall, for example, that are like trying to be craftsy, trying to be very kind of like interesting. Like there's definitely a lot of effort to be high quality.
Right. Okay.
It's not. Cool. It's not rapidly done. It's not a quick thing. It's what's tricky about it is getting entertaining and having a more somber tone. And people usually like to feel good. So, I think that's a more difficult thing to do.
Well,
watch brand wise, I don't know.
This summer, soar into the wild blue yonder with Marathon, the Canadian maker of professional use watches. The SS Nav D Blue Yonder is now available. It's the first blue dial stainless steel edition of the combat-proven Navigator, originally developed in 1986 for U.S. pilots at Kelly Air Force Base. Housed in a steel case with a Parkerized finishing, this Navigator houses a Swiss-made, high-accuracy quartz movement. It's mission-ready and built to high standards. Self-illuminating tritium gas tubes and the hands and hour markers provide constant, low-light readability. Rounding out the striking blue colorway are a blue bezel and matching blue Swiss-made FKM rubber strap. Limited to just 500 pieces and never to be produced again, get your Marathon Navigator Blue Yonder watch before it departs for good. Visit marathonwatch.com.
Well, I think we should continue this theme. So I think, David, you should suggest 3 things that are not watch related.
Did I do this wrong? I did not know how to do this.
No, I have no idea. We're making this up as we go along. So maybe like 3 car brands or something you know about that we don't know enough about that we should go and investigate in the next week and have watch-like thoughts about.
Yeah, somebody just shared with me this sort of viral video where they try and align watch brands with car brands, and it really drives me up the wall because I know
a lot of people
about
try
both.
to do this,
and it's so bad. It's like Porsche, so the Piaget, and like that doesn't make any not the product lineup, not the people, nothing. That it just doesn't. It's zero alignment. You can say Dacia, and AP at the same time. It's like I guess it's whatever. You get it's nonsense. It's really really bad. So yeah, we could clear that up.
How about Hungarian folk heroes and compare them to watch brands?
Yes.
Now we're talking.
Right,
yes.
go on
We're
then.
talking.
Something.
That's good.
3
Do your research.
Three Hungarian staples of Hungarian. The essence of being Hungarian, and let us go and investigate it for this week. So 3 things.
I'm putting them into the chat so you guys can Google it. It's going to be hilarious when you try and Google these things. And then
Is it going to be hilarious or is it going to be risky? That's true.
No. It's more or less okay. And then I'm adding a genuinely great Hungarian to the mix as well, just to spice things up, so it's not just ridiculousness.
Toldi, I don't know what that is.
Is
Is it a food or a band or?
It's a man.
It's a person.
It's tall, Rick. He's tall.
No, it's a man, not a person. It's an actual man.
Okay, so Toldi.
You're bringing this up now already, David? You already know?
Of course.
Ludus Machi? Is that how you pronounce it?
It's like you had it ready.
Yeah, how quick can you type? I have no idea what
It's been in there for 2 minutes.
how do you pronounce that one? Gross?
So that's Ludas Matyi and Gróf Széchenyi István.
Gróf Széchenyi.
They already sound like watch brands.
István. Yeah. Which one of these?
You just need a date.
I could see Toldi being sold at Nordstrom.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's the thing we should do.
The Submariner.
Which one of these? That's a quiz show. Which one of these 3 things has a watch brand collabed with?
Oh, it's
Toldi?
all about Toldi. Come on, you know that.
Toldi.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there you go.
Toldi.
That's our 3 things to investigate this week.
That's hilarious.
We'll stick it in the show notes. So Ripley, Ariel, you can be thinking of something next week. We'll think of a theme. So back to some watches. I don't know what you talked about at the start of the show. So Ariel, lead us on to our next.
I wanted to talk about the sponsored post about the IFL watches. We can't really say what that stands for, I guess. They have this new painted Bulova, another Super Seville with this kind of, I guess, no better way, a honeycomb dial with some honey on it. I found this to be quite artistic and nice. I like seeing stuff like this. What did you guys think? This seemed, again, artistic, but not crazy expensive. And I've always thought that the biggest danger with some of those very expensive artistic watches is that they were fun, but like just so much money that it's hard to do it as an impulse. This is like artistic art buy. I'm sorry, impulsive art buy. That's what this can be.
Yeah.
I quite like this. I think kind of similar to Second's work, where you get a very smaller, kind of fun, playful, irreverent detail, but at a quick glance, it's not so heavy like a Mr. Jones watch where it becomes very much a novelty. This looks quite nice when viewed from afar, and then it's really only when you look up close that you get the honey and the bee vibe. But I think this is a really cool watch, and like you mentioned, this isn't expensive. So within the grand scheme of art watches and stuff done with a handcrafted element, this really isn't all that expensive.
I got some beehives this week. I feel like this is the watch for me now. This is really cool.
You're a beekeeper?
Reward yourself.
I am officially a beekeeper, and therefore should reward myself with this watch.
Cool.
Get this watch and then watch the Jason Statham movie, The Beekeeper, and just have an evening for yourself.
There we go.
I wonder if the inspiration was because of the humming movement, right? The whole point is that it's like high frequency, and that's a hum and bees buzz. And I'm just wondering if that is some, yes, maybe a drug-induced association, but is there something to that? To this being kind of a humming movement, and a buzzing creature?
Let's find that back. Drug-induced association? What am I missing here?
Meaning the artist to come up with this idea, to look at this watch and be like, okay, bees on the dial. Like, that's not like an automatic association.
Was Chris on drugs when he created this watch?
I'm not saying in a bad way.
All right, okay.
It's a creative process.
He was high on honey. I wonder if anyone's ever worn... I think maybe... Do you suppose anyone's ever watched the beekeeper wearing a bee-themed watch sat next to beehives? Do you suppose maybe that's be the photo of it? Chris, if you're listening, then we're happy to do some photography around some actual bees and
Speak
some
for
actual
yourself.
honey. Yeah. I do like this. I think it looks really quite cool.
But what I like about this is no one could predict this. When we saw the Super Seville, no one's like, oh yeah, honeycombs, definitely. Like, but it looks good. And
is this watch becoming a bit of a thing to do this with? David, is this the watch you've got or had at the moment? That was also...
Bulova wasn't able to get it right, so at least someone could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the one with the murals. Yeah, with the mural on it. That was really cool. I wonder if this style, if the pattern changes between each iteration, or if it's always, the same little spots on the dial.
Oh, the same little hexes?
Yeah. I wonder if that's unique between each of these.
Oh, right, okay. A little code.
I guess you could ask for yours to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Because the one that I had with the painted dial, that was the same pattern, but you could tell that it was hand painted because all of them differed a little bit, and if this is handmade, then of course they could put those little blotches wherever they want.
So your request is more honey. Guys, how can I have such little honey on the honeycomb dial?
More honey.
You can make honey hour markers too.
Yeah,
with the honey like filling the blocks on the dial.
I'm just saying, you could do a little symmetrical hour markers there.
Do you think that the Piaget watch from earlier would be better with that pattern just hand painted onto this Bulova? Because they're basically the same shape.
Are you saying that IFL should charge $61,000?
Yeah, I'm saying he's underplaying how valuable his art is if you can charge 61 grand. Is that what that Piaget is? I hadn't noticed that.
I think he too could have an Andy Warhol watch. Everyone has it at this rate. Piaget is making it available for everyone.
Yeah, it's the common man's watch, the Piaget. Yeah, so these kind of hand painted watches, the second, is it the sort of watch you just have one of? Like,
no.
Would you?
No.
If you're into it, are you buying lots of them? Is that your thing?
When you're into it, you start thinking eventually what you want painted on there. And then you actually order it and you realize my grandmother makes a terrible dial. And I'll stop trying this because I don't know what I'm thinking about.
Right. Okay.
I'm being somewhat, jokey about it, but that happens a lot. People get courageous and then they realize they have terrible taste. This is actually hard. Once in a while, people are like, I have good taste. Most of the time they give up, and brands actually in my career started having to have barriers. It used to be that they would like make whatever you want. But then once social media came around and people could share it, brands started saying like, should we take the money or actually keep our pride? And they actually choose the pride a lot because they know that when someone gets their ridiculous painting on their Jaeger or their Vacheron or whatever, they're going to post it and it's going to make them look silly. Whereas again, remember, a few decades ago, they sold some one-off erotic dial painted thing to some part of the world. That guy wasn't sharing it. He was embarrassed to have it to begin with.
So you're saying right before social media, it was carte blanche. They would have done anything.
Yeah, like Chopard making all those watches for Gaddafi.
I'd like Terry Stern as a centaur on the center of my Calatrava in Grand Fou enamel.
So social media in a lot of ways killed the risk. I mean, I guess it was good for the hobby, but like watch brands, they stopped having fun parties and they stopped coming out with controversial things because they're all afraid of being canceled, I guess. Whatever that means for a watch brand.
Yeah, I was going to say, has there ever been a watch brand that's been close to being cancelled? Or hasn't, in fact, been
People
cancelled?
have tried with Hublot, but it cannot work.
Hublot, like cockroaches, will survive the apocalypse.
No, I don't think it's it, but don't you agree? People have literally tried to sink that brand for no good reason.
Absolutely. And you can't. Hublot's like the guy who brings the drugs to the party. You know, you not necessarily.
I was always buddies with Hublot. They introduced me to some great people. I always had a good time.
I'm a big fan of Hublot, so
Yeah.
I think the hate is unwarranted, but I'm trying to think of brands that have been canceled, and I don't think
Or
it's
close to cancelled. Who's been close to...
But it's for orological crimes. It's not for something they've said that's NPC. The Swiss are very neutral. Yeah. It's going to be something where it's like that design's terrible.
It's mostly retailers that get canceled. People that try to gouge consumers too much. Eventually, it comes back to bite them.
I mean, Bremen were close to being cancelled, I suppose, with the whole in-house movement.
No, because I feel
tobacco.
like in large ways they did that to themselves.
Yeah, true.
Bremen threw a bunch of grenades. Like, could you all ignore that?
If you cancel yourself, you can get cancelled by others. So that's very smart.
Yes. Okay. So you think that the hand-selected dial watch, the biggest issue is that most of us don't have any taste and just get carried away and end up putting stupid things on the dial. But do you have... Yeah. No, you're actually right. Now that I'm thinking about this, is exactly what would happen. Is you'd collect some of these, you go, these are really, really cool. I could just do one myself. And then you put something entirely tasteless and pointless on the dial. And that's when you get cancelled. So, yeah, okay, yeah. So Chris should not accept commissions from people. He should just plough his own furrow and let people enjoy what he's doing and let that be it.
That's why I laugh.
Do not engage the public under any circumstances. So
many brands get excited about like, oh, we're going to offer these personalized services. I'm like, so you no longer want to be a brand that makes pretty things. I mean, that's basically what that means.
We did go through a phase of that. Like maybe it was just after COVID. You know, you could, basically select whatever bits and pieces. You could have any dial color,
let me
bezel color, and strap color.
This was not them being nice. This was them wanting to save money on designer costs. Okay.
Right. Okay. And now they've got ChatGPT to do that.
Now they have AI to do the heavy lifting. Yes.
Who's the closest? I mean, would that result if I'm ambiguous about the whole AI thing. I'm not sure. I mean, yes, of course, it will eventually kill us all and lead to the demise of the human race. But in the meantime, I think it's useful enough. It would being caught out as using AI to design your watches. Would that be what would get you cancelled? Is that what would you have to do as a watch brand to be cancelled?
No, brands are advertising that they're using AI to design elements of their watches. Yeah. That's a selling point. It's like 3D printed. 3D printed being new. It's like, oh, that's hot. Cutting something from a block of metal. The one thing watch brands don't
want to do is decide what to make. They used to go from copying others, right, to copying themselves, to copying consumers, to now copying software. Like they don't want to decide.
Okay. So AI is not going to result in anyone getting cancelled. What is war crimes? Being caught up in war crimes? No, is it?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we just need to wait and see if anybody manages it.
I think it's going to come from having outspoken leaders who do crazy things. Like if Terry Sturridge just keeps on the same route, he might succeed in being one of the first ones to get canceled. He will alienate all consumers, but there will definitely be a group of people that will not buy watches from that company because of him.
Interesting. Okay, Ariel, what's next on the list?
We've gone through most of the stuff. We haven't talked about my review of the Ciga design Blue Planet 2 Atlantic, which is the first time that I wore one of these. This is, I guess, the third version overall. First it was the Blue Planet. Then it was the Blue Planet 2, which was a significant improvement. And now they've shifted the perspective on the dial, which is, I guess, one of the weirdest views of a map you'll ever see.
Yeah, it took me. It's taken me. I mean, it's like one of those things. China? Yeah. it's like one of those things when you always look for where you are. And I'm not sure where I am on this map.
That big amalgamation, that's actually like, I think, North America.
Yeah, well, the first version they didn't, decidedly did not have America on it.
Mm-hmm.
For real.
Yeah, which I was okay with. Now,
yeah,
you're just really excited about the Atlantic, and okay.
And it's all upside down. Like,
it makes you realize things are all relative, right? What's up is down, and the space in the universe what really matters, right?
So how do you tell the time in this watch? Is it
you want to do that?
Thing?
Okay. Well, there's the glow in the dark compass like rose.
So the compass rose is pointing to something, yeah?
It points to the hours on the outer disc. And then the middle ring runs counterclockwise.
Of course it does.
Of course it does. But then you look at where the hour is pointing to. So there, that would be pointing to roughly 18.
It's
so that would be, I guess, 11:18.
Oh, right.
That's a smart system. And it also proves that the Earth is flat.
David, no, it's not. It's not a smart system. A smart system is two hands, a big hand and a little hand. Did you learn nothing in kindergarten?
You have to seek out the time with those hands on different places on the dial. Here you just look in one direction and you see everything. I think that's pretty cool. All of them are basically within a centimeter of each other at all times.
So the outer disc doesn't rotate. Yep. That's fixed. And the globe rotates clockwise while the minute hand rotates anti-clockwise. Mm-hmm. Why does it rotate? Why can't it rotate clockwise as well?
Because that way you wouldn't be able to indicate it this way. This allows you to know the minutes as a function of where the hour hand is.
I don't think it rotates counterclockwise because then 15 would come after 20.
Okay.
No, it does.
Okay.
It's you'd see it when it operates. It's weird.
Oh, I think we know that. And of course, this is a GPHG winner.
Well, the first one won, and they're so proud of that.
Yeah,
I think it says 2021 there.
Yeah, that's like when you go past those. I don't know if you have it in what they call it would be in the States, but in this country, it's like chip shops that won the best fish and chip shop, and they've still got the sign up that says
like a restaurant that won
1993. Yeah. It's like you really need to take that down now.
Sort
it just
like
shows
that
you've been rubbish for the past 3 years.
It's like bringing your Oscars trophy everywhere you go.
They may have been the first, like, I want to say openly Chinese. I think you know what that means, but others might not. They were the first openly Chinese brand to like win that award. So for them, it's like a big deal.
The
others are just secretly Chinese.
The other is made on the dial.
Yeah. So what time is it in this one?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because they won the GPHG.
Oh my god! All right, that's
it's like 2:07 maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
It's giving me a migraine. I'm sick already, but this is getting worse.
Is it actually the case that this watch is easier to tell the time in the dark than it is in daylight?
I mean, it's a nice look. It's titanium case. I'm really selling the look. It's pretty looking and cool. Okay, when you wear it on the wrist, it doesn't look like anything else. Mm-hmm. It's a budget like expressive watch. It's for that. There's this celebration now. I think MB&F started that. They're like, I can afford to not know the time or look traditional. And this is like this is a manifestation of that concept.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Okay, so it's a night. Did you like it?
Yes, the thing is, I don't have too many places to wear this watch. That when someone gets this in the dark, when someone gets this watch and wears it, they're going to be impressed by it and wear it a lot. I have a lot of weird watches. I just need, more. I need to go to like some type of Globe Enthusiast Association.
No, Atlantic Ocean Enthusiast. This is very much
that's right.
I don't even see the Pacific on here, barely. This is very much for an Atlantic Ocean enthusiast. It's the centerpiece of the dial.
Look, they had the one for the Indian Ocean. Now they have this. Who knows what's next? They got to keep you on your toes.
It's interesting that they're showcasing the oceans. You know, no specific landmass is taking center stage
and they
here.
committed this. You know, this wasn't the first thought. You know, that they decided that this was the winner.
Yeah, and they decided that they're going to make it for mass appeal. We're not going to showcase any one continent. But what they've done instead is just put them along the perimeter. And what we have is an unadulterated view of the blue Atlantic Ocean in all of its glory, which isn't necessarily the most dynamic thing, since these are all about those sculpted, what would it be, topography or whatever on the Earth's.
Do you want them to paint the sort of like collections of trash that have accumulated in the ocean on there? Would that fill the space up a little bit?
IFL has entered the chat. I think he could get on that. But what I'd also like to see is they put into, I guess, engrave into the dial the different depths of the ocean, and I want them to do all of it relative to the landmass, so it's all in scale in the height.
I want the Mariana Trench on there. I see what you're saying.
Well, yeah, then the Pacific one's going to have to get really thick of the case, because the Atlantic Ocean's a puddle compared to this Pacific.
But
yeah, it looks like they have the technology for it.
I feel that this is like those movies whereby they never really identify the bad guys. It's like,
okay,
we know you're talking about the Chinese or the Russians, but we can't say that because we want to sell our movie in both China and Russia. So they have chosen not to highlight any particular landmass on the basis that they want to be equitable to all land masses equally. But in the process, all they've done is made a watch that just looks at the ocean and nothing of any significance.
It's okay. The countries that are de-emphasized here are basically Europe, and America and parts of South America. I think this is maybe some people saying, hey, you, this part of the world, you think you're so important, but we don't. You're just a blob to us.
I like that.
Dear Azores, we think you're cool. No, is it the Azores? I
mean, like Cuba is basically the most prominent thing here, okay?
Yes, okay. So,
I mean, this is like front and center Venezuela, okay?
Yeah, I mean, at least they've got both Ireland and the landmass of the United Kingdom on the watch. It was both. Now, was it? Who was it? Where was it? Wasn't Bremen. It was Christopher Ward. One of the brands missed off Ireland and the other one missed off the UK. I think it was Christopher Ward and Tudor. Somebody anyway. So at least they've got.
You happy to have full representation there?
At least we feel represented, feel properly represented. So that's fine.
You and Iceland, you're good.
Good, excellent. I mean, Greenland.
Look, I like Ciga design. I think they're a cool company. I like celebrating this stuff. I think that you could go far worse. They're decidedly making what they see as being emotional watches rather than like look-alike watches or whatever. And I think we have an obligation to, yes, be playful where necessary, but admit that like these are the conversation starter watches we want people to wear.
I want IFL to take this watch and put a Star-Spangled Banner painted over Greenland.
I want a painting of Moby Dick right there in the middle there, just a giant Moby Dick.
I want one of those things from Pacific Rim, one of those giant robots fighting
the monster.
Yeah.
I don't know why in the last week, but I watched the closing scene from Battleship. Have you seen that? It's kind of a bit Pacific Rim-esque, but it's the film based on the board game.
Right.
Have you never seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's not the opening, not the closing.
It's actually, to be fair, I actually quite enjoyed it. It's a bit kind of, what's the Steven Seagal film with the USS Iowa? What's that film? What's the film? What's the film where they steal the boat?
I had to write him off, so I forgot.
Okay, it's a bit like that because they use the same ship. So, it's about go watch Battleship and Pacific Rim. We'll do a review of them next week. Ariel wants to expand the things we're doing. So, Ariel, you can, as well as researching, okay, I'm going to try it again, Talde, Ludus Mathieu, and I have no idea.
You saying these
Groth,
Hungarian words in a Scottish
Eastman.
accent is not getting us there.
It's not happening.
Toldi, Ludas Matyi, Gróf Széchenyi István. And with that, guys, I'm out because I'm so sick.
Okay.
I have to go and recover a little bit.
Go and recover, David.
I already sent you guys a starter pack for Toldi, which is ironically the first thing, or maybe the second that I found when I Googled Toldi. So just to see if I can find you
We
something.
will enjoy that as well. And David, while you're recovering, you're to watch Battleship and Pacific Rim.
With Steven Seagal. Yeah,
with Steven Seagal.
No, he's not in either of those. But you could
but
digitally put him
you
in.
put him in there. That's fine.
and the Steven Seagal film that we can't think of the title of.
When I think of Steven Seagal, all I can think about is how he was featured in South Park and how he was being bullied on the internet and he wanted his safe space. So I'm going off to my safe space.
Who's your safe space? Okay.
Oh
Cheers,
my God.
David.
Bye, you guys.
Bye. Cool. Well, leave David in his bed of sickness to recover. A final watch then this week. Anything to select from the goodies that have been on display?
I got to go soon because I have a call in 4 minutes.
No problem. Well, a 4-minute watch review of... did we talk about the Métier d'Art Celestial watches? They look like they might fill 4 minutes.
That's a good Ripley rant right there.
Vacheron Constantin, Ripley, Rantaway.
Well, I'm not really
Métier
much
d'Art.
for astrology, but clearly it's important to a lot of people because if I had $1 for every single time someone asked me what my sign was, I could probably buy one of these watches, which they won't tell us the price, but they're about $250,000. White gold case, ultra thin tourbillon movement, peripheral rotor, really nice. You got a bunch of blue sapphire set into the crown, the lugs, and the bezel. This isn't a new movement. You've seen it before in other models, but what you do get is a interesting dial that's been guilloche drawn. It's a process developed by one of Vacheron's own in-house engravers, and so you get this constellation of the animal of the zodiac that correlates to that constellation, and the cardinal point stars within that form the constellation are set with little diamonds. There's obviously 12 of them, one for each animal of the zodiac, and at about $250,000 a piece without any limited production numbers. I'm sure they're just going to be making these to order when someone decides that they want a Sagittarius.
They're very pretty.
They are. They're really pretty. I'm not even into astrology, but these are pretty.
Not in the slightest, but these are pretty.
It's a shame that I'm a Capricorn. I just end up with like a goat on a $250,000 watch.
I'm a Capricorn too, guess.
But at least you have goats. There's no reason for me to have a goat on my dial.
Gentlemen, or should I say goat gentlemen, I must depart you. So enjoy talking more about this beautiful watch.
We shall all depart the show this week. Apologies, it's been slightly shorter due to some technical problems, but hopefully you will join us again in a week's time. And apologies to those that normally watch us live again, technical problems. But we'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.